Hey everybody, Greg Wortko with GreenIndustryPros.com. Thanks for joining us today. We got a great guest with us, Dave Hessong. He built up his own excavating and snow removal business, became quite a superstar in the snow removal industry. Actually, he even landed a couple gigs doing snow removal operations for a couple of the Olympic Games over the past decade. And now Dave is a consultant with Pro-Motion Consulting. How you doing today, Dave?
I'm doing great. Hi, Greg.
You might have seen in our Crew Chief Success Guide this spring, Dave helped out with a great article on the topic was it's all in the preparation, tips on what a great crew leader does before he and his crew hit the road each morning. And Dave and I were talking, and he wanted to share some more of his expertise here at our website with a couple of these web briefings. Today we're going to be talking about preparing your crew chiefs to lead. So if you are the owner of a landscape company, we do encourage you to forward this information on to the crew chiefs in your company. Now, Dave, just to get started, you've been in the business a long, long time. In today's green industry, what do you think should be expected of a crew chief?
Efficiency is key today because costs are up. There's no way you're going to get around higher fuel costs. Revenues are probably down because it's very competitive. And the only thing a company can do to widen that gap and get some between expenses and revenues is be more efficient in the middle and get things done. A crew chief needs to be able to keep everything moving, and again, that brings me back to our topic of the Crew Chief Success Guide, and that's preparation.
Yeah.
The most you can do is be ready, have things ready. You don't want your crew standing around while you're trying to figure something out that you should have done ahead of time, and that'll go through your efficiency right away. There's nothing worse than paying some guys, how many on your crew to stand around while you figure out something that you could have had already done.
Exactly, great points. And listeners, just so you know, if you did miss that article in Crew Chief, I got a link right below the video player here, so just scroll down a bit and you'll see a link. You can go access that article. Great tips on, like Dave said, how to prepare so when your crew gets there, you're ready to get in the truck and get out in the field and start making it happen. But now, Dave, what we're talking about today is when you are in the field, it's that transition to becoming a boss that a lot of crew leaders struggle with. Why do you suppose so many have a hard time with becoming a good boss out in the field?
I think a lot of the times, if a crew chief has come up through the ranks, he's the boss, quotation mark, air quotes, of the guys that he used to work next to, and that's an awkward position. And a lot of times they're friends, and you really need to keep business separate from friendship, from personal. And that's even if that isn't the case, that you didn't come up through the ranks, you need to put across to your men that hopefully they will respect you as they get to know you. But if they can't respect you, they need to respect the position.
Okay.
That's what I would tell them. If I'm the boss because our company said I'm the boss. Maybe I'm not the best, but somebody has to be in charge, and that's me today.
Right.
Take it from there. Try. And then if your guys go out later and be friends, that's fine. But it can't. You've got to keep that separate when you're on the job.
You bet. And any tips now specifically for those who are listening who are landscape company owners? Any tips for them? Because I guess it's one thing to say, well, we want our crew chiefs to lead, but it's another thing to prepare them so that they can lead. Any tips for landscape company owners that can help them bring out that inner leader in their crew chiefs?
The number one thing I would say to that would be is you need to support him. You need to support the crew chief. Even when he's wrong, if the owner needs to remember that you picked him, he was the best person you had at the time. Maybe you'll find out down the road that he's not, but in the meantime, when there's a problem, support him. Help him learn from the mistake and move on. Don't. That's the number one thing you can do, because if the guy's when he's out in the field and he's having a problem, the last thing he needs to think of is, I'm going to get reamed out at the end of the day.
Right.
You know, that's what I would tell any owner about your crew chief, is support him. Helpful, you know, you're going to maybe have to give him some helpful criticism on his performance, but he doesn't need to think that you're going to think it's all his fault, and he's going to have to hear about it in a negative way.
Right. Right. So yeah, that's the big thing, is that crew chief's got to know you got his back when he's out in the field, and that will just give him the confidence to do, you know, to transition into that role of being a boss. Here's a question for you, Dave, before we close today's conversation. Pro-Motion Consulting, for example, you're working with different types of green industry companies throughout the country, and what kind of training or things do you advise landscape companies, you know, the types of training that they should provide to their crew leaders? We hear all the time about, you know, product, you know, equipment operation training and safety training that happens on an ongoing basis. What other types of training do you think that landscape companies should provide to their crew chiefs?
I would say that you need to provide them with the tools, the documents, for safety training on down the line to each crew member.
Okay.
Make it easier for them to get all that stuff done.
Mm-hmm.
Provide them with a time, a toolbox meeting for safety, and then in order for that to be truly effective, you need to document that stuff, and that shouldn't be the crew chief's work to provide those documents. That should be provided from higher ups.
Okay.
To make it easy and quick for him.
Okay. That sounds very good. Well, good tips today, and we do appreciate you joining us, Dave. We're going to get you again for part 2 of this web briefing series. Next time we're going to kind of tackle it from the other angle of why crew leaders fail and then what their companies can do to prevent that. So we really appreciate you joining us today. If our listeners wanted to get a hold of you in the meantime, Dave, how can they get a hold of you guys?
Our website is PMC Pro-Motion Consulting Team. So it's mypmcteam.com.
Okay.
And my address is dave@mympcteam.com, and that would be great. Or they could even give me a call, area code 814-490-3218, and we'd love to give them a hand with whatever they need.
That sounds great, Dave. We appreciate you joining us today. We'll have you back, so listeners come back in a week or two for part 2, why crew leaders fail and what their companies can do to prevent it. Take care, everybody.